Welcome r/Nuclearrevenge. Cheat on me, and I'll ruin your life for everybody you touch. Ronnie was a serial cheater throughout high school, but he was more than that. He was manipulative. He would blow through relationships, typically 4 at a time. They would only ever last a week to a couple months before the girls would catch him cheating. He'd proceed to leak their nudes or spill their secrets, and move on to a new demographic of women. He was charismatic, and scapegoated his problems onto his dying father. It didn't matter how he would destroy the victim's reputation, until they weren't trusted, anyways. Despite this, I was in love. I was his side piece through it all. Morally, I knew it was wrong, but I had never been in love before. Besides, he wasn't lying to me like the other girls. He was honest about the fact he was cheating. I was special. I stuck it out. 2 years later, and he's fallen in love with me too. Or so I thought. He vowed to give up cheating, even gave up porn, just to have me love him back. I accepted it. We planned to marry. He was always so smart about his manipulation. When friends blocked me randomly, or called me abusive, I thought it was just a misunderstanding. When people began to become aware of deep personal secrets, I thought maybe I had slipped up during a conversation. No one ever told me Ronnie had called me abusive, a cheater or a liar. I never knew he accused me of being the things he secretly was. He would insult me late at night, before bed, and then claim he didn't remember in the morning. He would slip sly comments into our talks, just enough to make me doubt myself, but never question him. He was a master at gaslighting, until I hated myself, and only wanted to please him. I was head over heels in love, despite all of it. He would casually slap me never when I was upset, but when I said things he didn't like, he would slap me across the face and I would be too shocked to speak. He followed it up by laughing and playing it off as okay to do, or a joke, so I wouldn't fight back. If I expressed it was wrong or told anyone, he said I was misunderstanding a playful tap. Halfway through our relationship, I followed work to another state and maintained a LDR with him. It was my dream. I wanted so badly to stay. But after 8 months, I gave up my home, my pets and my job, to move 1,000 miles across the country, to live with him again. I had literally nothing, and was absolutely penniless. 3 months after this, I caught him cheating. He had asked a girl on a date via an alt Twitter account. I was hurt, but ultimately it wasn't so bad, so I forgave him. The seed of doubt was already planted, however. 2 months later, I snooped through his phone and noticed he had several Reddit accounts saved to Chrome. I vaguely recalled he used Reddit to view porn before, and I got a bad feeling in my stomach. I began guessing his common email/password combos. I got 5 hits total. They were more than I expected. I figured maybe he was lying about not watching porn, which is not a big deal to me, but for 6 months he had been using these accounts to cheat on me using hookup and porn subreddits. I confronted him. He screamed, telling me he had already apologized to me for cheating a few months ago, and I needed to quit making him sad. That he had already said sorry, and I wasn't going to get anything else. He explained that he had continued to cheat because he feared I would leave, and he wanted a second option. I spent a week and a half sobbing. I had nothing but this man, and I had never been good enough for him. I was destroyed. He screamed at me nearly every day, telling me my crying was annoying, that my depression made him uncomfortable, telling my friends I was guilt tripping him over something that didn't happen. Finally I snapped. I had wasted all of my high school and early adult years with a man who did nothing but walk on me. I went back to Reddit and counted every person he had flirted with or exchanged messages with. I began to voice record every conversation, screenshot every text. Next I downloaded Tinder and Bumble. For every girl he cheated on me with, I fucked a guy behind his back. When we went out with friends, I began to act more and more sad and slowly dropped in conversation how Ronnie had been yelling at me the night before and that it had upset me. I began to vent to his friends and show them every screenshot. Then I emailed his mother, his grandparents and his work voice recordings of him screaming at me. I asked his boss if his company supported domestic violence. I cried to his mother, and she held me as I vented my frustrations, explaining how she had been cheated on by Ronnie's father. Ronnie began to scapegoat again. He told me he was sick in the head and his depression was causing him to act like that. I knew he was attempting to gaslight me. When we were young, I was so in love with him that I saved almost every photo and text he had sent me to a OneDrive. I found all the times he had admitted to leaking nudes, cheating and ruining girls' lives. I got in contact with each of the girls, making one big group chat and sending them every bit of evidence I could find. These were then posted all over Facebook. He had dreams of getting into politics. I joined every political group in our area and pretended to be interested in joining. I befriended the members and casually dropped into conversation how Ronnie had cheated on me and verbally abused me and ruined other people's lives. They would inquire more. I would vent and show them the mountain of evidence I had collected. Ronnie was still unaware I had done it. He spent the night screaming and crying about how no one liked him and he wasn't sure why. He had lost his job. His friends and family wouldn't speak to him. He was being publicly shamed on social media and his political group had ousted him. I finally dropped it onto him that I had done it and I was leaving. During all this, I had secretly removed what little money I had from his bank account and contacted distant relatives and asked for a place to stay. I was leaving. He didn't have anything left to abuse or manipulate. I don't have a solid ending for this. I just wanted to say fuck you, Ronnie. I wasted my youth being abused, and I won't stand for it anymore. The two things that piss me off most in the world is people like that exist and get away with this shit. People like that either don't see what's wrong with their actions or do and are narcissistic enough not to give a shit. My girlfriend's ex-stepdad is a doctor and did so much to hurt my girlfriend, her mom, and her family. I want so badly to take this revenge nuclear, but we are finally at a point where he isn't affecting life on a daily basis, and I'm worried any attempts at nuclear revenge will reverse all the progress we've made. This man is a grade A psychopath, and it terrifies me that he walks around on the same planet as me, breathing the same air, and there's any potential for him to even enjoy a moment of happiness. Your post is sweet relief after spending time in a sub full of runners crying that strippers are manipulating them for money. You have made my entire week, and I'm saving this post for later. I'm glad you ran while you were still strong. I admire you, and you are my personal hero. There are parts of this story I relate to, but I can't say exactly which ones. Oh my god, a very similar thing happened to me. A guy I met through friends slept or flirted with just about everyone I knew, wormed his way into my friendships and slagged me after them. I told them all he was bad news, and then finally he slipped up. He posted nude photos he had taken of me on FetLife and a girl sent me screenshots over Twitter. I ruined his job, his relationships and his friendships with that evidence. He was trying to worm his way into the music scene, so we outed him on the respective Facebook groups. He's now banned from venues. His name is Muck and all my friends apologized for the shit they put me and other girls through. This is incredible. I had a very similar boyfriend in high school. He was my first love and I devoted my whole life to him. I never realized how badly he manipulated and gaslit me until years later. We were together for 2.5 years. I was 16 when we started dating. For 2 of those years, he was cheating on me with 9 girls and a guy. 7 of those girls I was friends with, and 1 being my best friend. He fabricated messages between himself and my male friends to make it look like they were bad-mouthing me, and he was defending me. He would threaten my male friends, and he would tell all of my friends, male and female, that I didn't want to be friends with them until he was all I depended on. He was a monster, and he left me with horrible trust issues and lots of things to work through. I have no revenge story, and sadly a lot of us don't. I personally want to say I am so proud of you for standing up for yourself, having the courage to leave that piece of shit, and realizing just how much you're worth. You deserve all of the happiness in the world. I think this is 99% fake. The author is either totally stupid, or as I imagine it, a dumb fake. If true, you are as bad as he is. What were you doing while he was ruining all the other girls? You once accepted him cheating. If you accept that fact, you are in fact a cuck. You willingly chose to spend your time and life with this human scum, which makes you something similar. To be totally honest, you are even worse, since you are a thief and a criminal. Too bad you didn't suffer more.